to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Raila Amolo Odinga has heightened political temperatures in this government. And William Ruto is having sleepless nights. Raila wants William Ruto to come down and listen to the people, the hustlers whom he had promised to lower the high cost of living. Raila is leading protests together with the Azimio fraternity and all the concerned citizens against the Finance Bill 2023 that is now pending in court after Okiya Mutata went to the courts of justice. But William Ruto has employed very dirty tactics to try and avert these demonstrations. He has really apprehended many Azimio leaders, those who are very close to Raila Amolo Odinga. It started by the Embakasi East constituency, Babu Owino, the member of parliament there. George Ladwa was also apprehended. The following day, George Ogeta, the immediate Raila's aide and his security, was also apprehended. We've talked about Anthony Oloch, who was apprehended today. Maina Njenga was arrested, and several Azimio leaders were arrested. Some of them, in fact, that was abduction. Some of them were whisked into police Subaru boots and they were taken away. Their whereabouts were not known. In fact, Babu Owino spent more than 24 hours in police cell without the knowledge of where he was. It took the intervention of his wife, who said that she didn't know where Babu Owino was. Very many people have been killed because William Ruto unleashed an elite squad that Raila had talked about, Operation Support Unit Squad, that had been trained to interfere with the demonstrators. We also saw several youths being given pangas and some 1,000 Kenyan shillings to go and cause mayhem. And police and civilian really killed people, maimed them, and it is a very sad state of affairs in Kenya. As this was happening, my attention was drawn to the masters who installed William Ruto to power. The United States of America and the United Kingdom, Britain. United States has not uttered any word. I have been following through their ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman. If you look at the latest developments, Meg Whitman led a delegation that came from the US, the trade and economic delegation that was discussing bilateral trade relationship between Kenya and USA. They have never uttered anyone in the midst of all these killings and police brutality. The only international body that talked was the United Nations Human Rights Office that warned William Ruto against using excessive force and said that in light of the people who have been killed by the police, proper and independent investigation must be done so that the culprits must be brought to book. The other group that I was really looking for was this of the UK, the Commonwealth. And today they spoke. It seems that William Ruto is not resting until he sees to it that there is a ceasefire, because apart from the brave facade that William Ruto is giving us, things are not rosy in the government. They are scared stiff. Dennis Itumbi will tell you that they have carried the day because Raila has not been seen, because people have not gone to the CBD and all this. But remember, schools were closed. The Kenya Railways Corporation closed. There are businesses that were not opened. And so government has lost a lot of money. So William Ruto ran and pleaded with King Charles, who is now the head of the Commonwealth after his mother, Queen Elizabeth, passed on. And King Charles responded. In a letter that was sent by the Commonwealth Secretariat, you will realize that the Commonwealth has taken a position, and I can assure you that they are supporting William Samoei Ruto. They are not condemning any act of this violence. And let us read together. This is the Commonwealth press release. Commonwealth statement on recent developments in Kenya, 20th July 2023. For immediate release. A Commonwealth Secretariat spokesperson reacting to recent developments in Kenya said that the Commonwealth is deeply concerned at the ongoing escalation of violence, conflict and loss of life in Kenya, and calls on all leaders and communities to engage in dialogue to resolve the challenges Kenya faces. As always, the Commonwealth stands ready to assist in any way possible in resolving the ongoing conflict and disruption. While economic concerns are the root of the conflict, it is troubling that the protests have seen an increase in the use of hate speech, and we call on leaders of all sides of the political divide to de-escalate the situation. Dialogue is the best solution to the current situation. We strongly encourage all parties to engage now in constructive dialogue based on Commonwealth values and mutual respect, and for Kenyan leaders to quickly explore practical and sustainable solutions to the challenges their country and communities face. I want you to notice two things. Number one, there is no condemnation of the use of violence by the police at all. There is just but mentioning that the situation has escalated so much that people are dying and use of violence, but they have not condemned. They have not called on the administration to stop the use of violence. That tells you their position. In the last paragraph, they are saying something that is very funny. That the Commonwealth is ready to help, but they're saying something that their contribution will be based on based upon Commonwealth values and mutual respect. Commonwealth values. I'll tell you what this means. When they talk about Commonwealth values, they simply mean that they stand by the government that was duly elected. That is their position. When they encourage all these parties to talk, their values would only mean that they want to stand, so that as people speak, they will tell Raila to start the Congress that there is a government in place. That's the second thing. Now, I want you to understand, because we all know that the USA and people like Prince Charles are the ones who installed Ruto to power. And they want to ensure that they protect him. They want to ensure that everything works for him. I'm one person who is not of the idea that the West is drifting away from William Ruto, all because recently he hosted the Iranian president, all because he's talking about a united Africa and he wants us to go against the dollar. William Ruto is a Trojan horse placed to hoodwink the African Union that he is a Pan-Africanist. But if you check deeply, William Ruto is championing the interest of the US. Whatever he says and the actions are very different. They are enjoying a mutual understanding and a mutual relationship. This is the second time I have seen the international community talking about dialogue. Recently, there was a joint communication, a joint statement from diplomats, and they said that they encourage dialogue. The reason why I have a problem with dialogue, ladies and gentlemen, is because there is what we call a bipartisan talk, a team that is led by Ochieng Amolo on this side, and the other guy from the Kenya Kwanza team. This dialogue is a poisoned chalice that Raila has been given to drink from. It has been placed there, and I'll tell you, it will not work. This dialogue is meant to delay and delay. It is a delaying tactics so that William Ruto can continue working. And their main way of destructive is very simple. They will continue with these talks up to a certain moment and it will collapse. There is a deliberate effort to ensure that these talks don't see even the light of day. because it is what is meant to keep William Ruto in power for over 5 years. They will pretend that they are talking, and then the Kenya Kwanza team will bring something that the Azimio do not agree with, or they're just, they showcase some lack of seriousness, and then the Azimio will collapse the talk saying that we are not ready. They will go back to the streets. People will fight, people will be killed, and you will see the religious leaders telling Raila and William Ruto to talk. You will see businessmen, you will see the international community, then they will go back to the talks again. In fact, right now, that team will not be dissolved. It will be there waiting. They will go for another dialogue. This dialogue will continue, and it's the same thing. It's a cycle. And this is the reason why they have decided to talk about dialogue. And they call it constructive dialogue. When people get there, I wonder what they're talking about. Because according to William Ruto's side, the only thing that they want to talk about, they mentioned, is how Raila can go to retirement. How Raila can be wiped out from the Kenyan politics. Or the only thing that they're ready to add in is Raila to be part and parcel of recruiting the IEBC commissioners. That is the only thing. Things about the server and all these, there's nothing they want to talk about. And now this is the catch. When Raila goes to the table to talk about reduction of the high cost of living, the advantage is going to be on William Ruto. Why? We are in a harvesting season. If you go to the shags, we are in harvesting season and maize is being produced. Someone was telling me that now in their area, maize is being sold at about 70 shillings per gorogoro, that container, that tin. And you see, if you look at the bloggers of the Kenya Kwanza team, they are now saying that they engaged in farming and all that, and today they are reaping big, and they're saying that God brought the rains and God has brought bumper harvest. And so when Raila is going to sit down with this team, that they're talking about the reduction of the cost of living, reduction of the prices of this basic commodity, they will be mentioning. In fact, right now, it's very easy for William Ruto to score because of the advantage of the harvest. I know it's not really very bumpy, but for a period of 1 month or two, the prices of basic commodities will come down. And then that will be the cut. They will tell Raila Amolo Odinga, we had promised to bring down the cost of unga to 150. In the next few weeks, the cost of unga is going to be at 150. And that is what they're going to measure on, that is what they're going to be singing, and it is going to be a waste of time. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this Commonwealth thing is meant to hoodwink Raila to go to some talks. And I know the Azimio fraternity do not want any talk, but they will be telling Raila that there must be a solution to this. Once you've seen people like Commonwealth, next you'll see Chris Coons, the Delaware senator, coming here for some kind of talks and for some kind of handshake. I dare say that we only have two choices. It is either people don't go to the streets to be killed, only to call off the demonstrations when people have been killed, or you just decide that there is no mandamano. It is either mandamano until you achieve what you want, or no mandamano at all. I'm against the idea of taking people to the streets, then halfway you stop it. Because right now, the other conversation that is now going on is the use of force, the use of bullets, killing, arresting people, and people have started saying maybe it is time to retreat. It is either we are going for it or not for it at all.